cornerstone of the theory is a hypothesis that we've called the acquisition learning hypothesis. It says that we have two very different ways of going about the job of getting better in another language. You can acquire language, you can learn language, and they're very different. Acquisition I've described as a subconscious process. And subconscious really means two things. It means, first of all, while you're acquiring, you don't always know you're acquiring. It goes on below your level of awareness. For example, you're reading a book, you're listening to a conversation, you're listening to a presentation such as this one. You are, of course, listening to the presentation, you are reading the book, but without realizing it at the same time, you might be acquiring. Second, once you're finished acquiring, you're not always aware that anything has happened. Think everyone can acquire language. Everyone can pick up language subconsciously. Children acquire their first languages. Children acquire second languages. Adults acquire language. The ability to subconsciously pick up language does not disappear when you enter school. It does not disappear when you become a teenager. It doesn't disappear when you get older. It's with us forever. We think the language acquisition device never shuts off. Very different from acquisition is what we call learning. That's what most of us did in school. Learning is knowing about language, conscious knowledge of language, in English from that position. When you come out with a sentence easily, it comes from what you've acquired, not from what you've learned. All the rules that you learned in school do only one thing for you. They act as a monitor or an editor. So let's matter where you look. The important role is with acquisition. Acquisition gives us fluency and accuracy. For the adult, and I'd also like to admit this to you, no one was more disappointed to discover this than me. As I mentioned briefly at the beginning of this discussion, my graduate work was in grammar. My PhD is in grammar. Like many language teachers today, I love grammar. My life used to revolve around grammar. My best friends are grammarians. I love to discuss relative clauses. The problem is that that's not how language acquisition happens. Language acquisition does not happen by learning grammar rules, by memorizing vocabulary lists. This leads then to our major point. If acquisition is more important than learning, we must ask how it happens. How do we help people acquire language? This is, of course, the way we acquire language is amazingly simple. We acquire language when we understand messages. When people speak to us in another language and we understand what they say, or we read something in another language and we understand the message, language acquisition will take place. Messages people understand, what we call comprehensible input. The language acquisition device goes to work. Okay, so we acquire language when we understand it. This major idea of comprehensible input has two corollaries. One corollary has to do with speaking. Speaking, talking, is not practicing. The ability to speak another language is a result of acquiring it, not its cause. For example, if you want to improve your English, it will not help you to speak English to yourself as you drive to work in the morning in your car. If you want to improve your French, it will not help you to close the bathroom door and speak French to the mirror. I used to think those things help. Now I'm convinced they don't.